This is Richard Bruce, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about the illegal attack that the U.S. carried out against Syria on April 13th. Now, in particular, I want to talk about Russia and China, because I have been watching this whole farce play out, thinking that I understood who the players were in this game. And I didn't know until recently that our own American government and all of our news media are a bunch of evil, satanic liars, and I am not going to retract that statement, because I have done my homework and I have found out, and I cannot go back from knowing that we have been lied to, and that is why we don't know who is who and what really happened. In particular, I found out about World War II when I looked into it, that so-called good war. In particular, when I saw a movie, as I finally started to wake up, this movie called World Defeated the Wrong Enemy. And when I did my own homework on this, I did some reading about the archives, about what was really said and what was really done, and the lies that are provable now, and we can see. And I'm mentioning this because that helps us understand the lies that we are facing now, okay? My research shows that everything that we understood about World War II is like the complete opposite of what we thought, okay? What really happened was Adolf Hitler had to invade Poland because they were slaughtering his people. Now, I'm against violence in any time you can possibly avoid it, but we've been lied to about why that happened, and so now this whole story that they concocted about Hitler being this horrible guy, and he was involved in witchcraft and sorcery, and you know, he made a deal with the reptilians, and then he fled to Argentina and lived out the rest of his life, and all this is total fabrication. Look into it. Do some reading, do some research. You'll find that the printed number, 6 million Jews dying in Germany, is provably false, because there were about 5.1 million Jews living in Germany at the time. So I'm not going to get into that whole research because you know, it's up to the individual to find it. Because I mean, you want to talk about one subject that will cause the most resistance, because we have been so indoctrinated. That is my point about Russia and China. I have been watching this whole thing play out with Russia and China, watching again and again how the American news media was saying that, yeah, Russia's blocking and lying, and China's blocking and lying, and over. I mean, this has been going on for more than 10 years that I can remember. It's probably been going on for longer than that. So you can understand now, once you discover this and you realize who's really who here, who the Americans are, okay? My home country, America, who we really are, and what's really happening with our news media, which is, it's unbelievable. That's the thing. That's why I didn't know. People don't know. Okay? Now, what I found out was that actually Russia and China have been the only reasonable, upstanding players in this, blocking the American aggression where we are murdering people based on lies. Check it out. Most people who have looked into this now, people who have at least some semblance of wanting to know the truth, know that we have been murdering people by the thousands, if not millions, over the past 10, 15 years with these wars, and propping up these criminals and then taking them down and then blaming other people for it and then lying to everybody about it so bad that the average person can't match up that with the dream that I grew up with, which was that America was the good place where we where we're free, where we can, a man is free to do whatever he really feels is best, and he can pursue his career and speak his mind, and the world's wide open to the, good American man who's, his fathers fought for our freedom. Well, guess what? Wake up and smell the horrible, awful, terrible, bad news that I hate to bring to you. Bull that we have been laid upon. We've been shat on. Okay? We as Americans have been lied to so bad it is equivalent to us being crapped on. And the thing that we need to realize is, friends, it's what we had thought was beyond our belief should be in our belief now, because this attack on Syria is so egregious, so obviously based on lies and BS, that now when Russia might start to take a firm stand and there might start to be some real consequences, including losses, we shouldn't be so surprised. And not only that, it's my opinion that we should take our punishment and not retaliate, because I think that this is, I do not have any sense that Russia, and Putin in particular, are unreasonable to now say, well, enough is enough and we've got to take a stand, and if they kill even one of our soldiers on the ground, there's going to be serious likewise consequences on the other side. And if the more you look at this and the more you realize who these players are, then your whole view, as my view did, just switched around. But I mean, in particular, what I would say to any average people in Russia and China is not that this is an excuse, because we're still going to pay for the crimes of our leaders, but it should be understood that I, as a 47-year-old American male, am just now finding out in the last 5 years of my life, when I went down the path of discovery of truth and found out that our entire government is involved in the most incredibly wicked stuff you can imagine. Only now am I even able to realize, because it took me a long time to even break through the American dream. So the issue in some respects is knowledge, okay? It is in fact that we don't know, we straight up don't know. And this cuts across the board. Doesn't matter what race you are in America, how much education you have, okay? Because I know people that are highly educated, and and very intelligent people, okay? Not dummies by any stretch. I mean, smarter than me, okay? I mean, very smart. And they are totally, irrevocably hypnotized, unable to get out of this lie that we've all been told. It doesn't matter. I can see it doesn't matter what I submit, because at a certain point, like for instance, if I were to bring up the fact that the Holocaust actually didn't happen the way we thought it was, something like that, or that Adolf Hitler, wasn't who we thought he was, and Nazi Germany wasn't what we thought it was. Oh, the resistance, I mean, are you kidding? So there is this block because we've grown up in this whole scheme of lies, and we're just, there's more and more people. I mean, the hope is that there's a lot of people starting to wake up, but it's still very small. The majority of people out there, as I talk to people, not only do there's no way they can believe even a little bit of the main story about this, but they don't really want to know, because it's just so unpleasant. I mean, in my case, it took something really unpleasant for me to wake up. But I think that if we think that Russia is being unreasonable, or China is being unreasonable to show force in this instance, and to even, for there to be consequences, we are, I mean, this is it. We're looking at destruction here, okay? Americans, we've got to, wake each other up here, because, and do something, because, I mean, we're looking at, I mean, we really are looking at World War III here. I mean, you think it's no, that'll never happen, but I think it's closer than a lot of people think. And we enjoy a relatively happy lifestyle now, but we are not going to in the future if we don't do something about this, if we don't wake each other up. And I think that if Russia or China, and if there's a conflict, we should know the truth about that, and we should send a message to the traitorous, backstabbing, didn't do what he said he was going to do, American President Donald Trump, that we should just take our medicine and not bomb them back and start World War III. Take our medicine. We destroyed their property. We hurt their pride. Just think what would happen, how angry Americans would be if some other country bombed a state and some people died and some facilities were destroyed. Think about that. Think about how angry we would be, and then their press lied to all them about what really happened. But our people and our property were destroyed, or our whole country, like Syria, got just wrecked by the actions of some other people in Europe against us. Okay? Just think about that. If we had suffered that same thing, how angry we would be, how fed up we would be, and how finally, regardless of the risks, regardless of mutually assured destruction, they would say, screw it, and attack, and there would be consequences. Therefore, the risk is high. It is coming. It's gonna happen. Chances are, if we don't send a message to our leaders or do something, overthrow this government, we wouldn't be betraying them or America. We would be liberating America from these villains that lied to us about World War II and what Germany was about, are lying to us about the Middle East and what Israel's about, are lying to us about what all these poor countries in the Middle East that did nothing to us or our interests, absolutely nothing, except for maybe a few terrorist bombings, which we probably caused by pissing them off from something else. So, friends, please, we have got to show restraint if they fire back. And I would say to Russian and Chinese people that Americans are like 98% just can't. It's too hard to believe when we're sitting in front of these television sets that we grew up with. We thought watching TV was a good idea. You stay informed with all the latest movies and news and the most competent news, and we don't know that it was all under satanic control the whole time. From the time I was a little kid watching Captain Kangaroo on the floor of my parents' house to all the way up until now. It's evil satanic lies flowing right through that tube into our brains and into our thinking. The movies that are coming out now, I can see the propaganda that's building up against Germany again. Look at these superhero movies. These superheroes, probably a code for super soldier. Look what's really happening. Okay? Look what's really happening. In every one of these movies, whether it's Wonder Woman or Batman or Superman or Iron Man, guess who's the bad guys? It's some faction, not the actual Nazis, because they don't want to bring that up too much, but it's some faction of the Germans. And I think that's rather telling, because my reading of Scripture is that there's going to be a war, and it's going to be Germany, a coalition of Germany, Turkey, and Iran, the Persians, that are going to eventually put something together that's going to attack Babylon, which is if you don't know, Babylon is America, which you can prove with Isaiah 13 and 14 and Jeremiah 50 and 51. America is Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and abominations in the earth, that we see in all caps in Revelation 17:5.